Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtiprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 26, King Puranjan goes to the forest to hunt and his queen becomes angry. Text number 20 onwards. Anuninne athshan kair viro anunay kovida pasparsh padya yugalam aha cha utsang lalitam. Because the king was very expert in flattery, he began to pacify his queen very slowly. First he touched her 2 feet, then embraced her nicely, seating her on his lap, and began to speak as follows. So from previous verse, we saw that the king with aggrieved mind began to speak to his wife with very pleasing words, because the wife was, though the queen was really angry and she was lying on the ground. So here, he first he touched her 2 feet, then embraced her nicely, seating her on his lap, began to speak as follows. So Prabhupada explains, one has to awaken his Krishna consciousness by first regretting his past deeds. Just as King Puranjan began to flatter his queen, one should, by deliberate consideration, raise himself to the platform of Krishna consciousness. To attain such an end, one must touch the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Krishna consciousness cannot be achieved by self-endeavor. One must therefore approach a self-realized Krishna conscious person and touch his lotus feet. So looking at the allegory, now the queen is representing intelligence, but not just any intelligence. Now it's a spiritual intelligence. So first touched her 2 feet. So that's what Prabhupada explains. One has to touch the lotus feet of a spiritual master. Means project himself humbly and try to serve him and then ask the questions. One cannot come to the precincts of Krishna consciousness unless he touches the dust of the lotus feet of a person who has become a Mahatma, a great devotee. This is the beginning of the surrendering process. Lord Krishna wants everyone to surrender unto him, and this surrendering process begins when one touches the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. By sincerely rendering service to a bona fide spiritual master, one begins his spiritual life in Krishna consciousness. Touching the lotus feet of a spiritual master means giving up one's false prestige and unnecessarily puffed up position in the material world. So unnecessarily puffed up position. So we don't have actually any position. 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair. What position can he have? But we think we are somebody of significance, somebody of high importance or value, or I have this power, this position. Actually, we are nothing. I'm not saying we are Mayavadis, that we are nothing. But nothing in the sense we have no value, no capabilities, no strength, nothing. If you think we are somebody very, very important, very powerful, then just see, even the President of America, any President of America, as soon as he leaves the office, he's just like a common man. Yeah, because he was the president, the security will still be there, because there are too many crazy people out there in the material world. But other than that, he'll just be an ordinary person. So the power is really with the seat, not with the person. We think we become powerful, but we are nothing. And that too, just imagine if somebody dies, for how long people will remember him, remember his greatness, remember his the works that he did. Hardly. As soon as he dies, somebody else takes over, takes his position, and that's it. The word goes on. So we are into this unnecessarily puffed up position. So touching the lotus feet of a spiritual master means giving up one's false prestige and unnecessarily puffed up position. Those who remain in the darkness of material existence due to their falsely prestigious positions, so-called scientists and philosophers, are actually atheists. They do not know the ultimate cause of everything. Although bewildered, they are not ready to surrender themselves to the lotus feet of a person who knows things in their proper perspective. In other words, one cannot arouse Krishna consciousness simply by his own mental speculation. One must surrender to a bona fide spiritual master. Only this process will help one. And that is the quality of a bona fide spiritual master, that he does not get puffed up by people coming and bowing down to him. Just like Srila Prabhupada, today is his disappearance day. So the word Prabhupada, the title Prabhupada means, so many gurus and so many devotees have taken the shelter of his lotus feet. That is what Prabhupada means. But he himself, he was always a via media. He always behaved in this way and always had this realization. I'm just a via media, a transparent media between Krishna, Krishna's mercy, Krishna's instructions, and these disciples of mine. So many times he called his disciples, he said, you are the ones, my Guru Maharaj has sent you to help me in propagating his mission. Although his disciples, from any standard, they were nowhere in the Vaishnava category, but Prabhupada, this was Prabhupada's mood. He would see them as the instruments, as the people, souls sent by his Guru Maharaj. But Prabhupada said, but it's my duty to train you, that's why I chastise you. So he took it up as a duty, but not that he was thinking I'm better than them, that's why I'm training them. That was his humility. And in the training process, he practically taught everything, from how to put on dhoti and sari, how to put on tilak, how to chant, how to cook, how to clean, how to behave with each other, how to do the paintings, how to keep the accounts, how to run the temples, how to do the dressing, how to make the jewelry. The list is unlimited, unending list. And he basically trained everybody, whoever his followers, his disciples were, because they had taken shelter of the lotus feet of Prabhupada. So that way, and this is what King Puranjan is also showing, this is how one should take shelter. Give up their falsely prestigious positions. And his disciples did that. Some of them came from very rich families, just like Giriraj Maharaj. Giriraj Maharaj and even Jayapatak Maharaj came from very, very rich families. Giriraj Maharaj's father was a well-known attorney, a lawyer in America at that time. And Giriraj Maharaj, he was a brahmachari and he joined Prabhupada movement, and he was in Mumbai. And in Mumbai at that time, now we have like a 5-star temple, wonderful facilities. But at that time, there was not even a proper building. There was just this land, and which was under so much of legal disputes, and the fightings were going on, and devotees were basically sleeping on the ground with the rats around them. There was only 1 or 2 rooms, one for Radha Ras Bihari, and maybe one was a kitchen and a little bit temple hall. That's about it. The Giriraj Maharaj's father, he went to India at that time, and he met Srila Prabhupada, and Giriraj Maharaj was there as a brahmachari, as a servant of Srila Prabhupada. And his father, Giriraj Maharaj's father, gave a blank check to Srila Prabhupada. He said, you fill out any figure you want, but leave my son, give my son back to me. Prabhupada very humbly said, your son is free to go. I'm not binding him. He's not bound up. He's free to go. He can go anytime. But Giriraj Maharaj himself said, no, I'm not going to leave you, Prabhupada. And his father just came back with all the money, the check, everything. That is the power of Srila Prabhupada. He gave so much of love and caring and the spiritual knowledge, spiritual enlightenment, that devotees didn't want to leave him. Text 21. Puranjan uvacha nunam tvakrit punyaste bhritya yeshvishvara shubhe kritaga swatma satkritva shiksha dandam na yunjate. King Puranjan said, my dear beautiful wife, when a master accepts a servant as his own man, but does not punish him for his offenses, the servant must be considered unfortunate. According to Vedic civilization, domestic animals and servants are treated exactly like one's own children. Animals and children are sometimes punished not out of vengeance, but out of love. Similarly, a master sometimes punishes a servant not out of vengeance, but out of love, to correct him and bring him to the right point. Thus, King Puranjan took his punishment dealt by his wife, the queen, as mercy upon him. He considered himself the most obedient servant of the queen. Now, King Puranjan is a spirit soul and the queen is a intelligence. But now she has become the spiritual intelligence. So the soul is taking a lower position, a humble position. She was angry at him for his sinful activities, namely hunting in the forest and leaving her at home. King Puranjan accepted the punishment as actual love and affection from his wife. In the same way, when a person is punished by the laws of nature, by the will of God, he should not be disturbed. A real devotee thinks in this way. When a devotee is put into an awkward position, he takes it as a mercy of the Supreme Lord. So this is a very famous verse. Prabhupada quoted it many, many times. Tattena kampam susamikshamano. This verse states that the devotee accepts a reversal of his position in life as a benediction by the Lord and consequently offers the Lord more obeisances and prayers, thinking that the punishment is due to his past misdeeds and that the Lord is punishing him very mildly. The punishment awarded by the state or by God for one's own faults is actually for one's benefit. In the Manu Samhita, it is said that the king should be considered merciful when he condemns a murderer to death, because a murderer punished in this life becomes freed from his sinful activity and in next life takes birth cleared of all sins. If one accepts punishment as a reward dealt by the master, he becomes intelligent enough not to commit the same mistake again. So the king, he was happy that the queen was punishing him. She was angry at him for the sinful activity. And the king was repenting for committing all the sinful activities he did. And this is what Prabhupada is saying, that a devotee should be very thankful to the Lord for all the reversals in his life. And the reversals are part of life, especially for a devotee. Because what happens in a devotee's life, when he takes up the process seriously, sincerely, but there's still so many anarthas in our heart, so many unwanted desires. But we have taken up the process. And one who takes up the process seriously, then he is under the jurisdiction of Krishna himself, not under the jurisdiction of Yamaraj. So what Krishna does now, he wants the devotee to come back to him sooner than the devotee wants. So Krishna puts him in many, many awkward situations. There are many reasons for that. One is, if it is a little sincere devotee, he tries to surrender more. Because in any awkward situation, either he tries his strengths, whether it is bodily, physical strength to get out of that position, monetary strength, relatives, friends, that kind of strength, his own intelligence. But when everything fails, all he has left is surrender unto Krishna, which he should have done in the beginning. But anyway, that's okay. Krishna gives him a chance. So he surrenders, and then Krishna protects. And then again, if Krishna sees the surrender is not enough, he again tightens the screw, so to speak. So the devotee cries, he is in pain, but then finally he surrenders. So ultimately, Krishna wants full surrender. In the process, he is always there. He's always there to help, he's always there to protect. He's always there. But it depends upon how advanced the devotee is. It takes him time accordingly. At the same time, devotee, when he is going through all this, Krishna, through those devotees, he basically advertises to the world that my devotee never leaves me and I don't leave my devotee in any situation. So the rest of the devotee circle or rest of the karmi world, when they see the devotee going through so much of pain, so much of suffering, so those who don't have faith or those who have little faith, very shaky faith, they go away. This is the way of way Krishna screens people. So they go away. And those who are really surrendered, they see Krishna's mercy upon this devotee. They glorify devotee and the Krishna and the bhakti and this merciful behavior of Krishna. So those who are devotees, they only can see what Krishna is doing. And when Krishna is, when somebody is going through so much of stuff, Krishna is being more merciful upon them. This is what Queen Kunti had prayed in her prayers, if you remember, that Krishna, when we were going through all the problems, you were always with us. But now the problems are gone, you are leaving us, you're going to Dwarka. Let the problems come to us again and again so that we always have your association. And then that means no more birth and death. How many of us can ask, Krishna, give me more problems? Give me more diseases. Give me more reversals in my life. Hardly anybody. But this is the mood of Queen Kunti. We cannot imitate her, but at least we should appreciate her mood and pray to her that maybe someday, one of these lifetimes and one of these days, we'll get that kind of mood. Full faith, full nishtha in the mercy of Krishna. It's not easy to attain that. But this is what Krishna does. He filters out people who are not there yet. And then the devotee who's there, he makes him surrender more. And then the devotees who are really advanced, they glorify both Krishna and the devotee. And this is his mercy only. So we should not be afraid when there are some reversals. Of course, at that time when somebody is going through some awkward situation, reversals in his life, and when everybody else is just giving up on that person, it's very difficult to hang on to devotion service. That is when the mercy of the devotees does come into picture. Those are real devotees. And they very mercifully, very compassionately, they lift up the devotee who's under distress and still help him to remain in the path of devotion service. And today is Radha Prabhu's birthday.